No words, only stomp. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Chen has sent us Soldier Stompy. This is an archetype that is near and dear to my heart. I think it is a lot of fun, and I vividly remember watching a GP many years ago where someone made a relatively solid run with Soldier Stompy and just absolutely cheering for her. Chantel Campbell? Question mark? That's the name that immediately comes to mind. Yeah, I think that's correct. My bones hurt. That was from 2018. So long ago. Alright, if you are not familiar with the archetype, it is an ancient tomb-fueled white creature deck that looks to dump creatures into play off of Preeminent Captain, which allows you to put a soldier into play, and cheating the cost on a soldier that costs 4 or more is kind of a big deal. The deck is looking to get out of the early game by using cards like Chalice of the Void and Suppression Field to great effect. And there's a bunch of slightly different soldiers with overlapping hate functions, and if you squint your eyes funny, maybe Clarion Conqueror counts as a soldier too. You have some sources of card advantage here, and a decent, let's scoot that over, a decent number of lords that can go and power up the team. Valiant Veteran also has an ability that you can exile it from your graveyard to grow your team further as well. Now, I am not going to make too many changes to Chen's deck here, but I will say I think the sideboard needs a little bit of love. If you take a look at this column, there's 5 different cards that have a white cost in this 18 land deck where 8 of these lands don't actually produce colored mana. So we're going to make a couple of changes real quick. The first of which, we are just going to put 4 Swords to Plowshares in the sideboard. We're going to show different art. I don't want to be a tank. We'll take literally anything else. So in most of the matchups where we're going to want Swords to Plowshares, it is reasonable to board out Chalice of the Void, so we're going to make that substitution. And the other thing is, with Deafening Silence and Rest in Peace and Thalia and more other Thalia and Suppression Field and Chalice of the Void, we have so much against combo decks if we make it to our turn 2. We want to just get a little more consistent at making it to turn 2. We're going to junk 2 copies of Clarion Conqueror and pick up a couple copies of Mindbreak Trap to help bridge us to our cards. With that being said, the rest of the deck looks reasonable for what it is. I think we're okay only running 1 Council's Judgment here, as technically we also have Witch Enchanter as another mana source, although in this deck, it often can just be put in off of something like Preeminent Captain. And this also does count towards our mana base as well. So when I said 18 lands earlier, it really is 22, and the Witch Enchanters also help with your Chrome Mox to power out your slightly overcosted creatures. We could also potentially become the Pretty Princess, which is not something that really happens anymore because Orcish Bowmasters is a defining creature of the format. But if you need your Palace Jailers, Captains of the Watches, or anything else to play this or something similar at your local FNM or whatever, please consider getting those cards from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Those folks over there are great. They have treated me well. I always enjoy bantering with them while I sell them cards at events. And I'll certainly sell them some things at MagicCon Vegas coming up in May. With that being said, let's battle. All right. This is what we want to do when playing this archetype. This is turn 1 Chalice of the Void, followed by one of our Thalias on turn 2. Hopefully things resolve and are relevant. I will need more mana, damn it, to bridge to the late game cards. So I'm always doing this, saying yes to that. I think I'm going to play Thalia and try to remain aggressive here. But sometimes my opponent plays Karakas, and this play is embarrassing. Ooh, Stompy Mirror? 1 mana? 1 mana Chalice of the Void? Yeah, that's what I thought. Get out of here. Witch Enchanter. I think I want to use Palace Jailer as an actual factual removal spell. I think that means that I'm playing Enlistment Officer here. Greatness at any cost. Life total be damned. We need 1 point of life to win. I will get a Thalia here. The rest of those can go on the bottom. My life total has gone down a lot faster than my opponent's life total. Aww. 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 Why aren't you a soldier? Alright, my opponent has named Palace Jailer. Their land enters tapped. Their creature enters tapped from Big Thalia. 2 more to cast. Well, shit. So here's Suppression Field. I think I have to hold back my first striker. Well, this first striker because it protects against that one. I will send in for 2. It's possible I could just play this Thalia here. Seasoned Dungeonaire. Also, not a soldier. That's not great. And this happens to line up very well versus my Thalia Heretic Cathar that had first strike. Opponent has an energy stuff as well. Yeah, I'm dead to this. Like, this card alone basically killed me by knocking me off of casting Palace Jailer. I don't really have game 1 removal. I am not on Solitudes. And my opponent does have Caracas as well. Valiant Veteran is not enough to get over the finish line here. Not even if I had played Thalia last turn and just attacked with everybody. Basic land doesn't let me cast Palace Jailer. I need 2 more. Yeah, we come up a little short there. Having dealt, I don't know, 12 damage to myself or something. GG's. Chalice and Suppression Field are both going to be a little sketch in this matchup. I want 4 copies of Swords to Plowshares. That's the biggest thing that I want to bring in. I will potentially play Council's Judgment as well. And I kind of decide, do I want to hedge against Caracas or do I want to hedge against the energy creatures that I know are in my opponent's deck while still doing swords? I think I will hedge against the energy creatures despite the slight awkwardness. I could also play Containment Priest. That's kind of eh. Notably here, I removed removal spells from Chen's sideboard and replaced them with other removal spells, so it's not like I took out those other removal spells. Alright, opening hand is not fast enough to keep up with this. We will mulligan. This is hopefully fine. My turn 3 is very good. This is turn 2. Turn 3, I put in a Palace Jail. Alright. This singular mana pip probably ruins me. No exaggeration. I'm going to deal so much damage to myself with these lands. Holy shit. I think I'm going to go Thalia here and pay to prevent that. Just so awkward if my opponent has Caracas. Alright, no. There is Ocelot Pride, though. My opponent doesn't get to attack immediately, which is nice. So we now play this game. And buckle up, because it's going to get dangerous. So here is Palace Jailer. We are going to get rid of the thing that can potentially give flying. And then turtle up. A removal spell is very, very good for my opponent. Ooh, that's the grass. Anointed Peacekeeper. Solid. See what my opponent wants to name with that. The wall of first strike that I can put up is pretty big. It might be naming Preeminent Captain because I have 2 of them accordingly. It is. I could get one into play and put the other under a Chrome Box. Oh, my own Thalia. How dare you? My opponent has 2 cards. I'm trying not to get blown out by a removal spell. It seems like that is going to be a little tough to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. This replaces itself and gets rid of one of these captains. Ow. I think I just do this. Hold the fort down, draw another land, and hope to make my creatures large enough that attacking becomes awkward. Sooner or later, my opponent is just going to find a Seasoned Dungeoneer, though, and the same thing that happened last game is going to happen again. Palace Jailer, by the way, is not forever removal. Okay, I lost Preeminent Captain. Everybody is coming to party. I think we're doing that. My opponent sacrifices 2 of their creatures, but they're going to get their Guide of Souls back and draw another card at end of turn. I think they are quite favored. Alright, at least they don't have more to do immediately. So, greatness at any cost. Thalia, Heretic Cathar, and another enlistment officer. Clarion Conqueror, not a soldier. I think I will Valiant Veteran. That means attacks with both of these creatures are fine. My opponent should probably just let this hit. Let me become the Monarch and potentially just crack back and kill me. Alright, they come to the same conclusion. They are at 14. Swords is not currently castable due to Thalia, which means that my opponent playing a creature and then giving this flying in the air is going to kill me. Oh, did you just bottom out? It's so good for me if you did. Touch the Spirit Realm. That's fine. That's not a creature. That doesn't kill me right now. Not enough energy. This is a 2/3. I might just block for 3 life here. I think I just accept throwing away that body. I'm still the Monarch. Swords costing 2 right now is kind of awkward. I don't want to tap Ancient Tomb again. I think I am going to just go 1, 2, 3, play Thalia, Heretic Cathar, and try to hold down the fort for a minute. Clarion Conqueror. When any creature goes on this deck, I need to Swords to Plowshares, Guide of Souls, I think. I accept that. That gives me more life, meaning Ancient Tomb is more viable. Okay. Am I fine trading 2 bodies? Actually, it's only trading 1 body. Yes, I'm fine with that. This is fine. Or no, it is 2 bodies. I still think I'm fine with it. Like, I have Enlistment Officer, and I'm the Pretty Princess. Swords your Guide of Souls on top of that for 1 mana. Alright. Now, I think I'm comfortable doing this. Losing some life again. Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3. I only get to play 1 more spell here. I don't want it to be Clarion Conqueror for Chrome Mox reasons. Let's go Thalia, Heretic Cathar. Draw another card at end of turn. It is a Preeminent Captain. I know one of my cards. Ooh, I need a removal spell for that. I have 2 draws. Well, I guess that's not quite true. How close are we to casting this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of, what is this, 7? Okay. You die. How much is this? +1/+1. You do not die immediately. I probably can't tap Ancient Tomb this turn. Alright. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's Daru Warchief. Go to combat. Send in for 7. Take the initiative. Pick up a land. Play a land. My soldiers cost 1 less. Play Preeminent Captain. This doesn't allow me to draw swords exactly right here, but it allows me to put in a Captain of the Watch next turn and probably get over the finish line. I am not dead immediately. Ooh. This brings me to 2. My opponent takes both of the fun toys. I will die to another initiative creature. Alright, opponent is forging up their creature. Got it. This is going to be pretty tight. Oh, if you just have 4 mana and another Seasoned Dungeoneer, the game is yours. Okay, it is 5, so it is 6. Chancellor is 7. What is 6? Is there the backside of some land? Oh! Wrath of the Skies, X equals 4. Opponent has the initiative and the Monarch, and can Solitude away Valiant Veteran, so I can't attack with it and stop them from trapping me. So let's just confirm. Send in Valiant Veteran. There is Solitude. Yep, so then I die at upkeep to trap, no matter what I do. I am at 4 life. I can't draw any cards, not real ones that can be Swords to Plowshares and gain me life. We fall just short there in the pseudo mirror match. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. All right. You kind of have to just believe sometimes when playing this deck. This hand is going to have kind of an awkward turn 2, but a very strong turn 3. I'm going to play Chalice of the Void here. I could play Chalice of the Void on human on turn 1, and if I happen to draw Ancient Tomb as my next card, my hand curves out slightly better. Lair of the Hydra. Alright, so we are probably playing against something in the Cradle Control ballpark. There is Witch Enchanter. I think I will just play that as an ETB tapped creature, or ETB tapped land here. And then hopefully just Palace Jailer away my opponent's first relevant card. Negative. Preeminent Captain. Do I want to try and wait to use Palace Jailer as removal? I think I do. Oh fuck, Kithkin, Soldier. I needed to name Soldier with that. Whoops. Not relevant for this matchup, but like very, very clearly a mistake. Opponent fetches Boseiju. That is potentially quite strong. I was expecting end of turn Bowmaster. Opponent has Once Upon a Time. Boseiju notably not a spell. Getting Gaia's Cradle. We'll see how wild my opponent goes this turn. Badger Mole Cub. Giving Gaia's Cradle some protection. Notably turning it into a creature, though. So, you know, things may get weird. Ignoble Hierarch. Ooh. Alrighty. I think your Gaia's Cradle lives to see another day. So which creature do I want held back on defense? I probably want Thalia, Heretic Cathar back on defense because of the first strike. So let's go bam, bam, and bam. Thalia into play. In with Preeminent Captain. Palace Jailer into play. Junk Badger Mole Cub just to make the combat math work. Now, this 1/1 is still around, so that will still be a nuisance. Opponent to 15. I'll draw a card. It is not Swords to Plowshares. Should probably highlight this card, by the way. This is not super, super common in Legacy. It shows up from time to time. It's not impressive in terms of a body when used fairly, but if you have 20 mana from Gaia's Cradle, untap Gaia's Cradle, it can be lethal in a single swing. Notably, the fetch land enters tapped here due to Thalia, Heretic Cathar. Opponent could sacrifice a creature to get their Badger Mole Cub back and become the Monarch. There is a Green Sun. Grist? Yeah. Grist is going to make my entire board fall apart instantly. So Insect Token trades for THC, and then my opponent can attack with either Hierarch or Springheart, getting Badger Mole Cub back. And then at that point, I think I'm just buried. Alright, it is Springheart. So go to 18. Badger Mole Cub comes back, which just makes the Gaia's Cradle better and better. I can't get through my opponent's creatures. They have chump blockers, and on top of that, Grist is also going to give them more. That did not help my cause. I'm going to send both of these creatures at base. Not having any additional gas here is problematic. Okay, opponent just takes it. I become the Monarch. I need more cards. And preferably, I need to chain into something that is going to give me multiple cards here. Karakas is not it. Karakas is very much not it. All right. The stream of triggers begins. Gaia's Cradle taps for infinity mana. Not literally, but it's a lot. And since I don't have blockers, Lair of the Hydra is very strong here. I don't believe that I am literally dead unless my opponent plays more cards. Like a Natural Order will certainly kill me. Hey, a Natural Order. That's a Crater Hoof. Opponent makes 10 mana as well. You want to make the Lair of the Hydra big? I'll let you have that. I'll let you get your screenshot. There's a 1919 Lair of the Hydra, which kills me on its own, not to mention the other 40 some odd damage that is coming over here. Opponent holds back enough damage to just be lethal on its own. GG! Opponent unlocked the initial Chalice, and it was rather bad from there. We are going to turn Chalice of the Void into Swords to Plowshares, and then find a way to fit 2 Containment Priests in here as well. Does shut off creature abilities, so I'm in for that. This does not shut off mana abilities, but does shut off other things. This Thalia can be trimmed for 2 Containment Priests. That makes the curve look about the same. I don't know that I want Council's Judgment. It's a removal spell. It's very inefficient versus my opponent's deck. Thalia might just be so bad that I say, okay, I accept that. I just don't know that my creatures are powerful enough here to overpower my opponent's ability to go wide of my deck. I have a mediocre opening hand. I have a limited amount of removal, so starting with a removal spell for my opponent's turn 1 play is fine. This is going to be Swords into Thalia, hopefully into Preeminent Captain, and go wild. I think a decent amount has to break our way, though. A, I need a land. B, I need my opponent's hand to not just be crazy. It is possible that I should just mulligan to Chrome Mox in this matchup, because going fast matters so much. Once Upon a Time is fine. Feels suboptimal to cast that before you see your draw step. Just work with more information. All right, there's Bayou. There's Hierarch. Hello, Hierarch. Goodbye, Hierarch. I essentially have no flexibility in when I cast that if I want to attempt to curve out, because as soon as I play my... Ooh. You know what? Never mind. Goodbye, this Thalia. Hello, Captain. You can make an argument that this is better because it will slow down my opponent immediately. But if I don't play this card now, it loses a ton of value. I'm going to just hope that attacking Thalia next turn is strong. 2/2, but my creatures have first strike and then will be bigger the following turn. Or I just Swords now. It kind of awkwardly uses my mana, but okay. So I can go, yeah, put in Daru Warchief, which makes my soldiers cost 1 less to cast, dealing 5 now, bringing my opponent to 17, and then I get the 2 mana Thalia Heretic Cathar. So what, I have 4, 7, 8, 9 power in play on turn 3. That's pretty darn good. So I have 9 power, plus I removed 2 creatures. That was about ideal for what my deck is capable of. ETB tapped land, ETB tapped bird, ETB tapped tree. All right, Ancient Tomb the draw. Not what I'm going for. Punchies. In. No cards in hand for that trigger to be relevant. Opponent is at 8. Natural Order is online, though. Gaia's Cradle is tapped. So some of the scarier Green Sun lines don't work. 3 mana. If it's Natural Order, the creature enters tapped. Okay, it is Green Sun. Wrist. That might get my opponent through the turn. Which one are you killing? Preeminent Captain represents the highest variance card, because I could draw a 6-drop soldier and then it is attacking. Opponent not playing around that line. Come on, 6-drop soldier. Captain of the Watch. Here we go. That is a human warlock. That is not a soldier. Am I over-attacking Grist here? Am I going to face and letting my opponent have a blocker off of this? So if I attack face and my opponent does not block, they take 5, going to 2. All 3 of my creatures are lethal, but my opponent is pretty good at blocking. I'm going to just kill Grist and assume that this game goes on for a little while longer. Also, if I rip a good soldier, it gets to just attack next turn. And I might have lethal next turn anyway, even if I kill Grist here. Send at Grist. No soldier to put in. Grist is dead. I do have to take 2. Just play this as a 2/2. With Thalia Heretic Cathar no longer in play, though, a natural order can represent an Atraxa blocker, which I'm not very good at beating. Wasteland is fine. Preeminent Captain casts most of my cards anyway. Captain of the Watch. Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Ancient Tomb. All right. How bad is Endurance? Endurance is not great for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. This can be a 3/3. This could kill a creature. All right. Not having extra cards for Preeminent Captain here kind of sucks. Not going to complain about variance, though. We had 2 Swords to Plowshares in our deck without any manipulation and only 4 or 5 removal spells. All right. Lair of the Hydra becomes a 3/3. Blocks my War Chief. My opponent is going to take 5 and go to 2. The Hydra lives yet another day. I can potentially hold Ancient Tomb there because of another potential Wasteland, and if I top deck a 4-drop, I guess I could cast it. I think that's a small mistake on my end. I basically need any soldier to win, assuming no relevant cards from my opponent. Bird can block one thing, Lair of the Hydra can block one thing. My opponent's not dead as of right now. If I get another decent soldier to put in off of Preeminent Captain, I probably seal the deal. Bird is being tapped, so it is not on the table as a blocker anymore. It's a white. It is a white. The opponent currently has 2 blockers with Lair and white. And another land drop, which could represent a Dryad Arbor as well. Thank you, deck. That is mighty kind of you. My attack does not make sense. I am passing the turn. This is rather unfortunate. This is where we needed, the Enlistment Officer, Palace Jailer, Captain of the Watch, Thalia, Heretic Cathar. I mean, honestly, I even would have taken a Suppression Field there. Most of the stuff in this half of the deck is just fine. Opponent attacks with their 4/4. I will just take that hit. The Vigilance here is kind of a big deal. All right, there is Enlistment Officer. I think I just cast that. There are better things that could be tapped and attacking here. I think Talon Gates means that this turn might not be quite as good as I would want it to be. Another Enlistment Officer. All right, Enlistment Officer, Thalia, Heretic Cathar. The rest go on the bottom in any order. I will cast Thalia, Heretic Cathar. And if my opponent wants to make moves with something like a Dryad Arbor, this is the moment. It is a basic forest. All right. I can send in with 3 bodies. My opponent has 1, 2, 3 blockers. I think it's probably fine to send in, assuming I lose 2 of those 3 bodies. Bird dies, and I hopefully refill my hand. I could also wait 1 turn and just attack with like 5 bodies instead. All right, opponent sacks the bird. I think they are going to phase out my Preeminent Captain and just not give me the opportunity. They are. The Lair of the Hydra can be big enough to block Witch Enchanter. All right, so we'll chill there. And my opponent is at 1. Hopefully I kill them next turn. Again, though, Natural Order is a very real Magic the Gathering card. Luckily, a bunch of my things have First Strike, making them better versus Atraxa. There's a body. It enters tapped. Ooh. Lair of the Hydra. Okay. Is not lethal? Yeah. All right. Whew. GG, match tied. Is there any timeline where I board in Rest in Peace to stop White of the Reliquary from growing? I don't know that there is. I think if it starts growing, my plan is attempt to build up size via stuff that looks like this, and then get in there. I think there's too many situations versus things like Grist and Badgermole Cub where Rest in Peace doesn't look fantastic. I don't have a turn 1 removal spell, but I hopefully have Containment Priest into Clarion Conqueror. I'm going to hope that this hand gets better. And if we can rig the Magic Online Shuffler so Swords to Plowshares is the top card of my deck, that would be fucking dandy. Dang it. Basic Plains and pass. So we don't want our opponent to cast things that look like Green Sun this turn. I want to catch those with Containment Priest next turn. Badgermole Cub. Yep. Very large Gaia's Cradle already. That's 4 mana. My opponent can just turn 2 natural order me before I get Containment Priest down. Oh, Spring Heart? Yeah? No, that's horrifying. Okay, we did not eat natural order immediately. That's the good news. Bad news is I haven't hit another land yet. Soldier or human? Probably doesn't matter. Let's go soldier. Pass turn. Hopefully I get a Containment Priest blowout here. I really need something like that, given that my opponent has a land machine coming here. Yes. Yeah. Now my opponent gets to start making more Badger Mole Cubs. And this can target the Wasteland. That's Wasteland on Cavernous Souls. I'll float a mana. I think now maybe I need my next land to be Ancient Tomb? Question mark. Right, I'm just going to always yield to Badger Mole Cub triggers. This Badger Mole Cub Wasteland situation that we're in is dreadful. Oh my god, Grist. So much about like being good against Green Sun. I think this army just overwhelms me. My Containment Priest doesn't matter anymore. I am going to kindly bow out of the ring here. We just got ran over despite having an active hate card on turn 2. GG. I have a bunch of good cards in my hand, and I'm not sure if my hand is a keep. I don't do something cool on turn 1. I just play a 2/2 soldier that will grow my future soldiers. But I largely ignore counter spells, and I have a turn 2 pseudo hate card. I'm going to hope that being on the draw improves this hand. There are just so many good things like Chalice or Thalia that I could find on my first draw step that make this hand noticeably better. That is not one of them. So there's Cavern. Put it on Soldier. Play Chrome Mox. Junk a Witch Enchanter. And do an uncounterable Valiant Veteran. So I now have the theoretical curve of Thalia, Heretic Cathar into Daru Warchief. The soldiers will get bigger and bigger, but they die to just about any piece of removal. This is potentially Show and Tell, in which case I should hold this other Witch Enchanter if possible, so that if my opponent puts in Omniscience or Allurin, I have counterplay for that. Potentially makes things weird, though. Verdant Catacombs, the land drop. Another trop. Yeah, this is sure feeling like a Show and Tell Allurin hybrid deck so far. Thalia may slow down my opponent's Show and Tell by a turn, and Thalia will be uncounterable. Alright. Bam. 3 mana for Thalia. The next turn gets real awkward if I miss on the land drop, though. I think I have to hold Witch Enchanter, unless I get something this turn that confirms that my opponent is not an Allurin Show and Tell deck. I guess I should not be yielding through their turn anymore. Oh, it's Infect. Unexpected. Ancient Tomb. None of these things are flyers. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can 2-turn my opponent by playing Daru Warchief. Same is probably true the following turn, playing it. I'm going to take the 2 immediate damage. Taking 2 off of my Ancient Tomb for Daru Warchief will mean any soldiers I play next turn will be cheaper as well. I already played my land drop right. I did. In for half of my opponent's life total. We will see if it is enough. I don't feel great about my chances. My opponent has had a few turns to sculpt. Who's dead? Me or you? That is an Ink Moth Nexus animating itself, so my opponent is probably going to untap it with Legolas's Quick Reflexes. We are embiggening first. 6/6. Invigorating. 10/10. Legolas's Quick Reflexes, untapped, flying, hexproof, infect, reach. When it taps, yeet 1 creature. It's a technical term. And I don't have a swords here. Even if I did, Legolas's Quick Reflexes would protect my opponent. They've got it. GG. Now, how do I want to approach the post-sideboard games here? Clarion Conqueror, probably not it. It technically blocks an Ink Moth. Chalice versus swords or both. I think it's probably a both situation. We might get rid of Captain of the Watch here. I can kill my opponent with whatever, assuming that I don't die outright in the first couple of turns. I might just get rid of Clarion Conqueror for not being a soldier. Council's Judgment is a poor removal spell. A poor removal spell that is a removal spell might be fine, though. -1 Daru Warchief, maybe? Opening hand plays turn 2 Thalia into turn 3 Preeminent Captain. I don't know that that is fast enough or consistent enough to win. This next one is fine. I don't think I need 3 copies of Chalice of the Void. Let's go land drop, Chrome Mox, imprint a Witch Enchanter, and immediately attempt a Chalice on 1. If it resolves, great. If it doesn't, I can try again next turn. It does not. Pitching Daze. Sure thing. Misty? We don't want to see Glistener Elf here. Okay, Noble is fine. We don't want the Infect creature to come down before I can throw down Chalice to help. So we attempt Chalice again. This is Dazeable, but it does resolve. So Glistener Elf off the table, but Blighted Agent and Inkmoth Nexus are still totally fine. This would be a great time to draw a Suppression Field and make Inkmoth Nexus considerably worse. Negative. How do we feel about Thalia? Thalia is the best short-term plan. Preeminent Captain is the best long-term plan. I think the short-term plan matters too much here, unfortunately. I'm going to also take damage so that this card is not dazeable. I am unlikely to die to regular combat damage unless things get weird. Inkmoth Nexus is a duder. In for 2 points of damage. In for 2 points of infect. Swords. Combo. Attempt Thalia attack. Successful. 1, 2, and 3. There's Preeminent Captain. Technically dazeable through Thalia attacks. And it is happening. Guess I am happy that I played Thalia last turn and played around Daze at the cost of 3 life. Land comes back down. Unfortunately, Inkmoth Nexus is going to just chunk away at me, even if my opponent doesn't have any other good things to cast immediately. Thank you, deck. That's very kind of you. In for 2, pass turn. Inkmoth Nexus fires up again. At some point, some sort of Invigorate style nonsense is going to happen, and I'm going to have a bad time. Today is not that day. Or rather, this turn is not that turn. There's another land drop. Opponent is passing. All right. That is also not what we are looking for. Could maybe hold this. I'm just going to play it out. Send in for 2 yet again. I am not winning this race versus Inkmoth Nexus. Down to 12. 11. Got a Surveil land. Opponent keeps their card. Hate that for me. Inkmoth Nexus fires up. We're at the point where any other additional pump kills me. That has not happened yet. Next turn, I will just die to the Inkmoth Nexus attack. So if I don't draw something that deals with Inkmoth in some capacity, that's it. Oh. Great. Fuck. Yeah. So now my opponent can attack with 3 different creatures. Thank you, deck. That is mighty kind of you. The 3rd copy of my legendary creature was exactly what I was hoping for on that board state. GG. My opening hand has a lot of mana. Too much mana, in fact. We are playing Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. That was too much mana. This is not enough mana. This is just right. I get 5 of these. Ancient Tomb, Chalice of the Void, Witch Enchanter, Preeminent Captain, Captain of the Watch. Live the dream. Live the dream. I want Captain in play. This is going to be another one of those hands that just deals 10 damage to myself very, very easily over the course of this game. Chalice on 1. In play. That's step 1. Hopefully it's relevant. Opponent says good luck. I don't need luck. I just need Preeminent Captain to resolve and to put Captain of the Watch in play. Opponent says like your content. Then let me do the thing, friend. Oh, I take back wishing my opponent good luck. Boo. Boo. Oh wait, are you Storm? No, you're oops. Yep. Boo. Alright, we lose, despite playing a premier hate card on turn 1. I'm gonna stop turning off auto yields here. Opponent has Pact of Negation nonsense. Alright. I will confirm that I can see Thassa's Oracle and Dread Return. I can. We can fuck off. Anyway, Wizards of the Coast ban this fucking deck. Goblin Charbelcher gets covered by Suppression Field and some of the stuff that I'm already playing. I'm in for this, in for this, in for this, in for this. Honestly, we're probably just like not really playing very much soldier stuff and just hoping to win with the hate bears. We turn the hate bear sideways enough times, we win somehow. And hope our opponent is not on the creature pivot. I can't prepare for Charbelcher and Graveyard and creature all at the same time, realistically. Alright. Yes, I am in for this. It should slow my opponent down. I think I will go Chalice on 0 and shut off all of the artifact mana. And then Deafening Silence to shut off the rituals. And hopefully that buys me time to find something that can win the game. I have the mana to cast anything. And if we have to kill my opponent by attacking with a Witch Enchanter 10 times, so be it. Garden of Freyalise, 2 mana, Foundation Breaker, Wear Down instead. Oh, great. So much for my 2 hate cards that I simultaneously had. Fuck me. Didn't draw another. Alright, well, I will play a Valiant Veteran and pass. Alright, we're gonna get turn 2'd through 2 different hate cards. Joy. Wasn't that fun, engaging Magic that required a large amount of skill and format knowledge? I'm exhausted playing against this deck. Get it out of my format, Wizards. GG. Alright, my opening hand is fine here. I am on the play, and I have to decide which one of my cool things I want to do on turn 1. I know that I am going to do Chrome Mox and put my most expensive card under there. And then I think I'm going to go for Suppression Field in case my opponent only has fetch lands. Suppression Field, I don't think has been cast today. I just physically have not drawn it very many times. So let's try to give it a showing. Opponent is having a good time in chat. They have asked me what on earth I have cooked up. All right. We did not successfully stop my opponent from deploying a card immediately. So now the next question is going to be, do I play around Days? I think I just play Little Thalia around Days. Oh shit. Big Thalia around Days. Big Thalia can't be fatal pushed easily. All right, in play. I say that because the fetch lands are not going to be online. Tapped Polluted Delta, you love to see it. Tamiyo, much less bad than normal. Still annoying. I love this. I think I just cast my card anyway. So there's Thalia. There's Caracas. Caracas bounce Tamiyo using Ancient Tomb to get Tamiyo out of play. In for 3. This is the deck working. Chen, this is what we wanted the whole time. And we finally had a good round in round 5, where like these things are synergizing well. My opponent can play their Tamiyo again, and I can Caracas bounce it out of play again. Yeah. Nope. Absolutely not. Opponent figured out what's what. Cavern on Soldier. 1 and 2. Tamiyo goes back. Opponent briefly lost connection there. Okay, and they're back in for 5. Opponent to 12. 5 damage on board. Fetch lands off. Even when my opponent does fetch. Wrong Thalia. Even when they do fetch, if their Underground Seas, they enter tapped. Oh? Doomsday. Okay, I'm done with Thalia Guardian of Thrabens here. I have enough of them. Thank you, deck. Opponent to 7. I'm passing here. All right, and there's the concession. Showing me this Lotus Petal was a big deal. I would have imagined that they were on a tempo deck until I saw Lotus Petal, at which point now I am thinking tempo Doomsday. So Suppression Field does a lot of work there, right? Feels like yes. Having to respect the Murktide Regent Barrogoyf style cards is problematic. I'm pretty good against the combo stuff. I don't know how to sideboard here. I largely just want to hit the submit button, but I kind of feel like I need 4 Swords to Plowshares, but I don't really want to cut Chalice because they're good versus the combo side of the deck. But without them, I only have 2 Palace Jailers versus the unfair side, and I'm not sure if that's enough. I'm just going to hit the submit button, and we'll see what my opponent's post-board configuration looks like and adjust during the next game. It's very possible that doing something like negative a couple of Captain of the Watches is correct. This is an okay hand that I will probably just mulligan. I think we have hands with a higher ceiling than this. Like, I have mana and things to cast. I just think I can do better with a Chrome Mox hand. Hey, a Chrome Mox hand. I will keep. I will probably get rid of... I want land, Chrome Mox, Palace Jailer, Thalia. I'll probably keep Suppression Field, but it might end up going under Chrome Mox on turn 1. Dissolving a Suppression Field is a big deal versus like lands and potentially cyclers, Tameo clues. Yep. I think I would not mind just drawing any other white card that I can put under these things. Okay, success. I think I'm going to play around a potential daze. My life total is frequently not going to be relevant. Enlistment officer under here. I'm going to go Suppression Field first. It's awkward if my opponent is on Dark Ritual-based lines, though. But if they had it all, they could have done it last turn. So I don't think they have it all. So that gives me a turn to wait with Thalia. Big mana. That's a Doomsday. If my opponent has a decent pile here, I think they just win. All right, opponent to 9. There is a Brainstorm. Look at the deck here. Okay, so there's like 2, 3 Barrogoyfs. Okay, so there are some Barrogoyfs. This gives my opponent the blue. Spoils of the Vault. Notably, my opponent can't do some of the normal piles due to Suppression Field shutting off the cyclers, like Street Wraith style cards. And then there is the Thassa's Oracle. That'll win my opponent the game. It looks like my opponent has boarded out a bunch of the Edge of Autumn type stuff. There is still a Street Wraith. This is going to be a little worse than I want it to be. So do I want Swords to Plowshares, or do I actually want Rest in Peace? 1 Rest in Peace answers every Barrogoyf. Yeah, I think I'm in for that. All right, Captain of the Watch is not happening. Sad, because that interaction is sweet. Let's go Rest in Peace in, and then trim 1 of these. I'll still have 27 creatures, 25 of which I think work for Preeminent Captain. Go down 1 Enlistment Officer then. This is very bad versus the combo side of the deck. I don't know that I can keep this. It's fine if my opponent tries to yeet a Barrogoyf into play, but I just lose to the combo with no Thalias here or anything like that. I will mulligan this. Second hand is not great, but I will keep it. Chrome Mox. Junk Witch Enchanter, and throw down Rest in Peace. All right, opponent recognizes what is up and counters Rest in Peace. Notably, I think the very first hand had like Cavern, Ancient Tomb, Preeminent Captain, and Palace Jailer. That is very, very good versus a Barrogoyf. Whereas if my opponent just Dark Ritual Barrogoyfs here, I'm not actually in great shape against it. Oh, we are doomsdaying immediately. Hopefully I don't die. I have a Thalia if I make it to my turn, which is something. But my opponent has not played their land yet. I could very easily lose to, Underground Sea Brainstorm. If my opponent had this, do they really need to counter Rest in Peace, by the way? They might have drawn one of these pieces, though. All right, opponent to 9. Ooh, they don't play a land. Cavern on Soldier. Let's see if I can fuck with what my opponent has going on. Gonna be tight. All right, opponent passes turn. Thank you, deck. Another Thalia Heretic Cathar. How kind. Opponent to 6. This is going to be so tight. There's an LED. Opponent junks that. Pays 3 life for deep analysis. Oh, there's a pause. Do not. They didn't stack it properly to get through a Thalia Heretic Cathar. Oh, we stole that one at the end there. We'll take it. GG's. We only put 1 win on the board today. It was a little rough. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Fine for what it is, but the overall strategy of this specific archetype is probably not viable in Legacy anymore. I did a quick search, and the last time we have competitive results from this deck is 2022, and it's currently 2026. A lot of the things here don't line up well versus the format anymore. So for example, Palace Jailer used to be something that was very, very strong in Legacy. Incredibly warping. Blue decks would often splash it as one of their control finishers because just drawing the cards and controlling the Monarch for the entire game was so strong. But now that there are so many more flash creatures like Thalia and Orcish Bowmasters, it becomes so much harder to hold the Monarch and the initiative, and the downsides of losing that are just very strong. More generally, if you want to be doing a white ancient tomb in Legacy, being the person who powers out the assortment of hate bearers into initiative creatures is probably better than trying to stay on one creature type for the purposes of things like Cavern of Souls. Beyond that, creatures have just gotten so much better in the past few years, with Barrogoyf being the easiest thing to point to there. A Barrogoyf is just better than probably every creature in our deck. Even our 6-mana Captain of the Watch is perhaps not as good as Barrogoyf. Barrogoyf blocks it, gains a bunch of life. You left a couple soldier tokens behind, but unless you have additional support for that, it's just not as good. So when the 3-mana single pip easily splashable card is just better than every creature in your creature type, it probably doesn't make sense to go down this direction. Furthermore, while Chalice of the Void can win games, it's so much easier to answer this card than it used to be, with Wear Away from Oops being a great example of playing a Chalice immediately on turn 1 and it just not mattering. Boseiju, another thing that comes up that commonly answers this. Otawara, another. And that's before we even start getting to the things that look like Abrupt Decay that are meant to answer it. So while this deck has some cool nostalgic play patterns of stacking Thalias and suppression fields and shutting off everything that your opponent knows and loves, I don't know that tapping out for creatures like this matters. And our games weren't going long enough where, this dies and then you end up doing your whole reinforce thing for 5 mana from the graveyard. That was not realistic. This was a league that went very, very quickly. Either we locked our opponents out or our opponent just did something more powerful than what we were doing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any ideas for how we might tune this up or other more recent soldiers that maybe belong in the deck, let us know down in the comments below. Alrighty, see ya!